What happens when a good amount of the characters on a television police procedural all decide, some have it thrust upon them, to go outside of their characters and try to do something other than what they've been written to do, except they don't know that they're written characters in a television show yet. And does some of them already know that they are? Welcome back to Smirking Gun. This is Rob here, and we're back talking about Interior Chinatown. Previously on Interior Chinatown, I talked about the first episode of this kind of as a lark because I like this cast a lot. And I love the premise. The premise of a background character played by Jimmy O Yang, who's Jin Yang on Silicon Valley. Also, Zima, who's in this as his dad, was also on Silicon Valley's later seasons. Who plays Willis? Jimmy O Yang plays Willis Wu, a simple waiter in Chinatown who dreams of breaking out of the mold of his life, the stale life that he has, like a lot of us do. And he dreams that, like he was thinking about, like, being on a cop show, like finding a body, or, like the whole beginning is very much like a Law and Order episode. If you watched my other video, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to be a lot more spoilery here now that I'm in episode 2 territory. And also, I'm going to talk a little bit about the first episode, some things that we didn't get to talk about before because I was trying to avoid spoilers. First, straight off the bat, I forgot Taika Waititi is a part of this. He directed the first episode. And I really, really, really enjoyed talking about this interesting concept of this guy who suddenly finds his world turning upside down after witnessing a crime right after he was talking about, trying to change his life, feeling like he's in a procedural, and turns out he is. And it looks like slowly but surely a lot of our characters are going to find out that they're on a TV show. This episode, though, for me, started out a little rocky because everybody was playing their parts, and I was worried that maybe this show is not going to be as meta as I thought. But oh my goodness, after the first few minutes, things go crazy fast, and there's so much to talk about. Because in the end, the real mystery to me is how many of these people are going to realize that they're in a TV show. Does Chloe Bennett's detective character already know? And I mean, this is where we just start really needing to, where I'm just like asking a lot of questions. And maybe some of these questions are the questions that you have as well. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're liking what we're doing here. I like to just get that over with. So, first off, right, I'm trying to figure out Chloe Bennett's character. It's the mysterious detective who's the expert on Chinatown, but is not an expert on Chinatown. We find out in this episode that she's had many different jobs. Does that mean many different parts on the show? Or just many different, like jobs that she's just like written in, and now her newest part is as a detective for Chinatown? Or because I'm really going down the rabbit hole in my brain about this. Is it possible that she's the screenwriter writing herself into her own story, like into her own story? Is she trying to change the story? Because they're trying to fight the screenplay, and it's not working out for like anyone. Like Willis, she's trying to get him into the police precinct, and he literally can't get in. no matter what he tries. And you could be thinking, come on, he could clearly get in if you aren't really understanding what's going on in this show. You might think this is just some silly, like, what the hell kind of scene. But he literally, no matter what, can't get into the cop shop. Even at the end, when she brings him there to get in, the other cop doesn't even see him, and they still, with her there, can't get him in to the precinct because, as the custodian says, and I think there's the custodian knows some things too, right? He says, you don't belong in there. How does he know that? Like, what does he know? How many people know what's going on? Like, it's not Westworld, you know what I mean? It's literally a screenplay, but these people are acting like they're like robots from Westworld a little bit, you know, like breaking their programming or something. Um, and it's not just him trying to get in and questions about her, but also like when he goes with her to the cop shop, Fatty, who's left behind, suddenly is asked, you know, played by Ronnie Chang, who's really funny in this episode. Um, he's the guy who works in the back and he throws out the garbage. They constantly talk about who's going to take, you know, like it's basically his only thing he does, it sounds like. They just talk, shoot the shit, smoke weed, and throw out the trash. Suddenly he has to be a waiter. So if he's only written to throw out the trash and smoke weed and basically be this guy's friend, even though, like, the screenplay wouldn't have all these characters, you know, written down this detailed. So they're basically all on autopilot, right? They're like in a loop of their lives, except they're, you know, just continuing. Um, so when he's asked to be a waiter, he literally doesn't know what to do, how to do it. It's amazing to watch. It's his comedy chops are awesome in this episode. I've never really seen much of his stand up. Um, I've only really seen the majority of his work on the Daily Show. But in this episode, his comedy chops really shined. Um, so he's trying to be a waiter and just trying to figure it out so that later on when he's figuring out all these things that are like easy for a waiter to do, his mind is literally fucking blown by the things that he can do. And it's not just him. I think his mother, I think Willis's mother going out for her real estate license is off book. They keep saying, you know, you this is a waste of time, and you're the reason your son has his job here is so that he pays for everything for you. They're like locked into their stories, but each one is starting to break out, break free because of Willis's like desire to be more than a waiter. There's a little bit about that brought into this. In fact, his being a waiter actually helps him in the end to solve the problem of getting into the cop shop. But we'll get into that in just a minute. So everybody, including his father, like the things that are happening, I feel like they're all slowly going to be waking up and changing their lives. And even the cops from the show are asking weird questions about detective, like why is she here, we've never had a partner, basically saying like in their show that they don't know as a show, which they think is their life, nothing has ever changed. All of a sudden there's somebody who doesn't fit in, literally. I mean, her clothes don't fit, she's always fiddling like she just found somebody else's suit to wear. Is anybody caught onto that? I mean, it also explains her driving. She's not written to be able to drive, so she just drives. But does she know that she's safe behind the wheel and can just turn around and not look at the road, knowing that like it's gonna be fine because she's on a show? Does she know that? Like all the things that I want to know. Who knows what now? And it's just amazing. I'm just I'm having just such a fun little. This is if you need a show that's a brain distractor to make you ask a bunch of questions that aren't about things going on in our world, This is definitely a fun distraction. I cannot stress how much of a fun distraction this is so far. And I'm trying to be good. I'm only like watching one episode a day. Um, but like everything, like she can't drive. The whole rewind the tape moment when they're in the alley and they literally he's trying to get on screen on camera anyway is what it would be, and he can't even do it. They don't see him. And when she doesn't say the right thing, all of a sudden it rewinds the tape. And it says that in the subtitles that I had on. Rewinds tape, rewinds tape. They keep asking the same thing. But when they ask each other, when Willis and Lee ask each other about it, right? He's like, what happened? She's really vague and acts like she doesn't know what's going on. But I feel like she does know. And that is going to be this. But how much does she know is the mystery, I guess, around that. And again, like I said, is she the screenwriter? Does she know the screenwriter? Are we going to meet the screenwriter if it's not her? I'm not since Charlie Kaufman's adaptation have I been this interested in like the messing around with a script, like writing yourself into your own story. Um, I mean, even when he talks about it, the mystery of his brother, right? And the case that she's trying to solve about him. Did his brother know? They say he disappeared. Is he in the real world? Did he ever exist? Was he written in? Like, was he written out? Is that why he disappeared? Like, was literally, you know what I'm saying? Like, he can't be anywhere because he's not written anywhere anymore. But the memory is still there. I mean, and let's see, what else do I have written here? I mean, yeah, I really liked it right at the beginning of this episode where they talk about neighbors reported hearing a Wilhelm scream at 3 a.m. I love it. Um, yeah, I mean, all this stuff that's going on. And in somewhere in the background of this episode is an old man who dies, and they throw like an impromptu funeral at the restaurant, which again, we should talk about like how that restaurant got trashed by a gang of people and everybody acted like it's no big thing and they just cleaned up and there's nobody talks about how the restaurant, got fixed so fast and like the cost that would take. Nobody's concerned. Nobody's talking about how much that, could set them all back and everything. I love this already so much. If you're not watching Interior Chinatown, get on it. It's hilarious. It's so fun to just check out and think about all the little mysteries. And this is only episode 2. There's 8 episodes left of this show. And so I will leave you with this little bit where at the end they sing True Colors, right? By Cyndi Lauper. And finally, Willis's job as a waiter pays off because he makes himself the delivery guy. He's going to bring food to the precinct. And doing that gave him a reason to be there. Now, does he know that that's like, did he do that intentionally, thinking this is how I get in? Or did he just do it because he wants to see her and he's going to do it no matter what? He seemed like he just wanted to get out of Chinatown. He was going to take the big steps to do it. And when he's going through the tunnel, it got weird again for a second, almost like, like Eddie Valiant going to Toontown a little bit, where things kind of changed. I mean, it changed earlier too when the scene ended where he's listening in on the cops who don't notice he's there at all. And they just say all this stuff about her. And then when they're gone, it's like the whole world stopped, like the end of Vanilla Sky. And no one's there except for all of a sudden Lee shows up. And so I wasn't sure he was going to get through that tunnel. And then he shows up at the cop shop, and just when you think they're not going to let him in, they go, delivery? And they let him in. And the lights start turning on. And that's the thing that keeps happening. Whenever the cops are showing up, that it's like the show is turning on around him. The world is turning on and becoming a real world when it's all basically on autopilot, when the action that is happening on the show isn't there. And so now he's in. He got into the cop shop. What's next? I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. So, if you like this video and you like this show, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, keep watching the channel, and we'll see you on the next video because I just want to get to the next episode. Thanks. Bye.